I will call Virginia Crosby to move the motion, and I will then call the Minister to respond. There will not be an opportunity for the member in charge to wind up, as this is the convention for 30-minute debates. Virginia Crosby.
Thank you, Chair. It's an absolute privilege to be able to speak in this debate, Civil Nuclear Roadmap and Wylfa. And I brought this debate today to highlight the simple truth that large-scale nuclear development at Wylfa in my constituency of Ynys Môn would be a transformational opportunity for the people that I represent. The largest inward investment in the history of Wales and potentially the greatest single action the UK could take in the fight against climate change and in the race for energy security. I warmly welcome the Civil Nuclear Roadmap that the UK government published recently, which committed to exploring a third gigawatt-scale project after Sizewell C and for developing further large-scale nuclear in parallel to SMRs. And today, I'm urging the government to take this commitment further by naming Wylfa as the site for such a large-scale project and moving forward at speed to announce a partner to deliver this project to Ynys Môn. I'm in no doubt, and the nuclear industry is in no doubt, that Wylfa is the best site in the UK and indeed all of Europe for new large-scale nuclear. In fact, I had a delegation from Korea visit. They have 24 gigawatt of nuclear there, and they said that Wylfa was better than any site they have in Korea for new nuclear. Why is that? Well, we have an existing strong connection to the national grid. We have solid bedrock, ideal for pouring the foundations of a nuclear power station. We have plentiful cooling water that is deep and cold and close, which is exactly what the engineers need. We also have a site that's been substantially cleared and prepared for large-scale construction by Horizon Nuclear Power under Hitachi. And I have to say that the industry opinion is unanimous. A third large-scale project must be at Wylfa, and I hope the government will listen to that advice. So I will ask the Minister, can he commit today or in the coming weeks to naming Wylfa as the site for a further large-scale project? There's one more factor that makes Wylfa ideal for new nuclear, and that is the strong support from the local community. Wylfa means hope. The community remembers what the island was like when the original Wylfa was up and running. To them, nuclear means jobs, it means investment and opportunity. For them and for their children and their Welsh language, for all the young people who otherwise leave the island to find good work. Of course I'll give way.
The Honourable Lady for Ynys Môn for bringing this forward. She's been a very assiduous MP on this issue. I believe from the beginning in this House, and certainly my knowledge of her was her first debate in this House, which I think was in a similar focus of a title as well. But does the Honourable Member agree? I envy the Honourable Lady and having a nuclear site and where she wants it. We wish to have the same in Northern Ireland, but it can't be possible. But does the Honourable Lady agree that when it comes to the creation of jobs right across the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, that should happen? The manufacture, the jobs that come across, those apprenticeships and others, for example, that we can all benefit.
Thank the Honourable Member for Strangford for his intervention and also for his kind words. He's absolutely correct. This is a UK-wide endeavour, and this means jobs not only on Anglesey but across North Wales and across the whole of the UK. If we don't work together on this, then we cannot work to deliver net zero by 2050. So their support is indispensable, but it cannot be taken for granted. My constituents have had their hopes raised and dashed again and again and endured so much heartbreak and disappointment as successive attempts to get a project off the ground have failed. The Civil Nuclear Roadmap will have raised their hopes one more time, and I beg the Minister and the Government to do everything that they can to ensure that those hopes at last begin to be fulfilled. So what can the Minister do to fulfil them? As I've said, we can start by naming Wylfa as the site for a further large-scale project. We should also get the land off Hitachi and the intellectual property from the Horizon project and into the hands of Great British Nuclear. Let me put it simply. The land is designated for new nuclear development. If Hitachi will not use it, they should lose it. Here, I urge the Minister and the Government to think creatively about what we can do. As I understand it, EDF in the last year have paid $200 million into the electricity windfall tax from their nuclear fleet to the government. Urenco usually pays an annual dividend to the government of around $100 million from its uranium enrichment activities. Could that money not be used to buy out Hitachi, get the Horizon intellectual property and get on with a project at Wylfa? As the Minister will know, I met with them and invited and personally showed around the leading contenders for a large-scale project at Wylfa, Westinghouse and KEPCO, and hopefully EDF. All have said that the work Horizon has done to prepare the site and to design a plant would cut the deployment time of a large-scale project at the site. We know that time is money, so getting the land and intellectual property into UK ownership is critical. The next thing is to design and start a process this year to pick up one of those prospective partners to execute a project at Wylfa in conjunction with Great British Nuclear. This can and should be done very quickly. Westinghouse, KEPCO and EDF are all very well known internationally. All of them have large-scale designs in commercial operation that the government and our regulators can visit. Their records are all out there for people to see and scrutinise. In fact, our friends in Poland have just gone through an extensive process to choose from those three for their first large-scale plant. The Czech Republic has done the same, and the Dutch have started the same process. Can the Minister perhaps set out how he and the government can work with our allies there? Of course I'll give way.
I'm very grateful to my honourable friend for giving way, and her enthusiasm for Wylfa is absolutely infectious, I would say to the Minister, although there may be a little bit of competition for a gigawatt power station from Albury or Berkeley. But that side, may I urge, through the honourable member, my honourable friend, the Minister to get on with the nuclear roadmap, because come 2030, with the demise of the AGRs, we will have a dip in nuclear power. And will he particularly consider that we might be able to get SMRs and AMRs quicker online than a new gigawatt power station?
Virginia Crosby.
I thank the honourable member from the Cotswolds for his excellent and timely intervention. We currently produce 6 gigawatt of electricity from nuclear, and all but one of our nuclear reactors are going offline in the next decade. So if we are to achieve 24 gigawatt of electricity from nuclear by 2050, we need gigawatt, we need SMRs, we need AMRs, we need us all to be working together to deliver that timetable. So can the Minister perhaps set out how he and the government can work with our allies to get the advice and information needed to accelerate our own process? We can start out with a pretty clear idea of what we want from any tender process, a partner to lead construction of a multi-reactor large-scale plant at Wylfa as quickly, cheaply and reliably as possible. I really do believe that this work can and should start immediately, and it does not need to wait for final investment decision at Sizewell C. FID at Sizewell C is vital, and I hope it can be achieved as quickly and smoothly as possible. It's essential for the future of nuclear in the UK, and it's essential that we invest now in the skills needed. However, it's a different kind of work involving different people within government to the task of selecting a partner for our next large-scale project. But I don't want to hide from the last point. The UK government should be preparing to take an equity stake in a project like Wylfa. I think 20 or 25% at least, and that investment would be worth several £billion over construction. But it would be excellent value for money. For it, I'm confident that we will get equity investment for our potential large-scale partners, and with it, we could also give the confidence to other investors in the private sector to invest as well. And critically, this investment would give the local community the confidence that their hopes won't be dashed again, that the UK government is backing the people of North West Wales, unlike the Welsh government in Cardiff, who've cancelled plans for a third bridge. And think about what we would secure. Billions of pounds of investment in Anglesey, North Wales, and the whole Welsh supply chain. Hinkley C to date has already benefited the South West by more than £5 billion, and a project at Wylfa would be on a similar scale. 9,000 jobs and probably more on site during construction, tens of thousands more in the supply chain. These are well-paid, skilled jobs that will bring people back to Ynys Môn to stay and to settle. Well-paid and skilled jobs for people to build families and preserve the Welsh heritage and Welsh language at the heart of the island's identity. And generating more than clean, reliable, sovereign power for all of Wales, which is worth about £2 billion in today's money, and doing that for 80 years. That's with 2 reactors. The site can fit 4, so we could do twice as much. Sustaining nearly 1,000 jobs in operation on that site again for 4 generations, tens of millions directly into the local economy for the rest of this century and beyond, providing a base of employment and demand to help other businesses on our energy island to thrive. This is the cheapest option in the medium term and long term. The expert modelling and the government's own modelling shows that the cheapest electricity system has 24 gigawatt and maybe more in it. We know very well and very painfully from the last 2 or 3 years, if we do not invest in nuclear and our energy supply is insecure, that everything is more expensive and our economy is exposed to the shocks and whims of forces beyond our control. So that is my final word. Investing in large-scale nuclear at Wylfa is about Ynys Môn again having control of its future. It's about our community being able to provide opportunity for families and for young people to stay and grow and to preserve its unique character. It's about the UK having control of its energy security and of its net zero future. Only nuclear provides the jobs and the clean, reliable, proven British power all in one package. And Wylfa is the best place to get it done. Diolch yn fawr.
The question is that this House has considered the civil nuclear roadmap and Wylfa. Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr Twigg, and it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship this afternoon. Can I begin by congratulating my honourable friend, and indeed she is a friend, the member for Ynys Môn, in securing this incredibly important debate today, not just important for her constituents, who she champions unrelentingly at every possible occasion, as indeed she does the nuclear industry, but important for the future direction of travel for the nuclear industry and civil nuclear in general in this country. The Honourable Lady has a formidable track record of championing the case for future nuclear project at Wylfa, both as chair of the Nuclear Delivery Group and through her membership of the Nuclear Financing Bill Committee. She has hosted numerous visits to the site for industry and government representatives, including Katie Huff, who I met in Dubai at COP, who was waxing lyrical about her visit to the site. She is the Assistant Secretary for the US Office of Nuclear Energy, who described her site tour to me with Virginia Crosby MP as a must for anyone visiting Wales. So I welcome the opportunity to discuss our nuclear plans and Wylfa in more detail today. But first, I want to reiterate this government's determination to ensure nuclear plays a central role in our future energy mix. As part of a massive investment in the home-produced clean energy, nuclear will offer the reliable and resilient power we need to reach net zero by 2050 and strengthen our energy security so we are never again dependent on the likes of Vladimir Putin for our energy. That's why, just last week, we announced the biggest expansion of UK nuclear power for 70 years, and I can confirm to my honourable friend, the member for the Cotswolds, that we are indeed getting on with it. I thank the Honourable Lady and indeed other members for the support that they have offered to that programme. We will build up to 24 gigawatts of nuclear power by 2050, which will quadruple our current capacity and provide up to a quarter of the projected electricity demand. The Civil Nuclear Roadmap sets out how we are going to get there, including our intention to explore a further gigawatt-scale project after Sizewell C, as well as plans to roll out advanced and small modular reactors, which is all part of our commitment to making investment decisions for 3 to 7 gigawatts every 5 years between 2030 and 2044. The roadmap also sets out the comprehensive policies for growth across the nuclear life cycle, including a geological disposal facility with work to find a suitable location already well underway. And alongside the roadmap, we've also launched 2 consultations, one on a new approach to siting, new nuclear power generation, and another on alternative routes to market for new nuclear projects that don't need government support. Together, these will give the industry and investors the confidence they need to deliver projects that we need at speed. And that is crucial, because this government is committed to ensuring that the UK is one of the best places in the world to invest in civil nuclear. And I'm sorry he's not in his place anymore, but as the Honourable Member for Strangford pointed out, the work and the jobs that can be created in the supply chain across the entirety of the United Kingdom mean that the benefits of new nuclear can be delivered even in places where these new nuclear projects are not actually going to be built, including Northern Ireland. But let's not forget, of course I would be delighted.
Made a fantastic speech in support of nuclear, but as he knows, the PAC visited Sellafield the other day. The whole of Sellafield's operation is predicated on the eventual building of this geological disposal site. The consultation has been very slow. Can my honourable friend do anything to speed up that consultation?
Minister.
I thank my honourable friend for that contribution. I am absolutely convinced that what we are doing in terms of selecting sites for a geological disposal facility is the right thing for this country. And I hear his views, and I indeed share his frustration at the speed at which consultations take when government is running them. However, we need to ensure that we select the best site, and indeed that the site that we select will be sustainable, have public support, and be suitable to deliver this second in the world geological disposal facility, which it will be when it is delivered. And so I would like to put on the record my support to the officials who are running this consultation. It is not an easy consultation. What they're embarking on is a first of its kind in this country. We are learning a lot from the Finnish example. They have just received their first payload, actually, of nuclear fuel to put into their, as they describe it, hole in the ground, their geological disposal facility. But I hear him, and I'll take his views back to the department and see what we can do to maybe speed up the process to ensure that we can get this facility built in the United Kingdom as quickly and safely as possible to the benefit of all of us. Since 70 years ago, when we first developed commercial nuclear power in this country, our decades of nuclear experience have provided a legacy of skilled workers and world-leading academic institutions, as well as expertise in the whole nuclear life cycle, from fuel production right through to decommissioning and radioactive waste management. And we are already speeding up our nuclear expansion. At Hinkley Point C, Britain's first nuclear reactor in a generation is being built, while we're also making rapid progress on Sizewell C. Just last week, I was happy to move the DCO and hold the spade that will cut the first turf on that site in the next few weeks. Together, these two plants will generate enough zero-carbon power for 12 million homes, reducing our reliance on imported energy and supporting the shift to net zero. At the same time, our aim to announce the outcome of GBN's SMR technology selection competition this year will make it the fastest competition of its kind in the world. So I reiterate, we are getting on with it. And indeed, just today, to my honourable friend, the member for Ynys Mon's point about engaging with our international partners, today, just a few hours ago, I got off a call with my counterpart in the Czechia government. I'm engaging with counterparts all across the world who are looking at what we are doing on our SMR down selection and indeed on our wider nuclear roadmap with envy and looking to copy to the extent that they can the processes that we are undertaking in this country so they too can build their civil nuclear capacity, can generate enough nuclear power to be energy independent and indeed reach their own net zero objectives, which of course is good for the entire world. Now, as my honourable friend has set out, Wales has a crucial, pivotal role to play in our future nuclear programme, not only because of its long and proud history of nuclear skills and expertise, but because of its growing interest in building on that rich history and its recognition that nuclear development could have a major economic impact across North Wales in particular. We know that nuclear developments can have a profound impact on a region's economic prospects, ensuring that communities directly benefit from investment by delivering high-paid and secure jobs in many places in the country where they are in desperately short supply. As such, we have a strong relationship with the Welsh Government and local communities, including the DESNES co-chaired Anglesey Energy Island Forum, which has supported a positive and constructive dialogue that brings the different levels of government together. And we know there's particularly strong interest and support for nuclear power at the Wylfa site in North Wales. And as the Prime Minister himself has said, Wylfa is a strong site for new nuclear. And whilst, I must stress, no decisions have been made on individual sites, it remains a strong and good candidate, one of several sites that could host nuclear projects in the future. So let me finish by focusing on the crucial point here. After several decades of decline, the UK's nuclear industry is reawakening, and we are determined to harness our unique strengths and become a leading nuclear energy nation once again. This roadmap that we published just 2 weeks ago will help us get there by providing direction for future decisions, strengthening ties with those who know the industry best, our nuclear workers and industry leaders across the UK and indeed in Wales and at Wylfa. But crucially, it will allow us to explore all the options and make sure we spark a nuclear revival which benefits the entirety of the UK, including Wales. So I look forward to continuing to work with the Honourable Lady as our plans progress in the coming months. Thank you.
Thank you. The question is that this House has considered a civil nuclear roadmap and Wylfa. As many of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it. Order, order. Thank you. Very brief.